past few weeks, I've been trying to film this one video, and it has taken many alterations. Maybe this isn't even the one that you see. I hope that it is, because if it is, and you are seeing this, that means I finally created something. So today I have decided to come outside and just take in the fresh creative inspiration, and I want to talk to you guys about things that I regret as a filmmaker. Now, this could be things that I regret doing, I regret not doing sooner. So I'm sure there's a couple that you can relate to, and I'm sure there's a couple that you can learn from. Thank you for joining me today on this beautiful post-rainy day. It has done nothing but rain here for like the past 3 weeks, and it's been hard to get out and film, but sometimes you just find the right location at the right time and everything just kind of works. So I want to talk to you about some things I regret not doing sooner in this case, and that is I regret not outsourcing the work. Like, as a freelance filmmaker, the first thing you think of is you think of yourself as an individual and not a business. So you feel like you have to have your hands on all of the work. You feel like you have to do everything yourself, and that's just not the case. When I started freelancing, I started feeling like a freelancer, and that's okay. But that kind of limited my growth a little bit, because I didn't feel like I could have other people doing my work for me, or outsource and edit, or have other people film for me. It just seemed a little bit out there. Like, people that were hiring me was hiring me for me, right? And that is the type of mindset that will limit your growth. It will basically stunt you as a business, and you can't take on more work because the capacity that you can handle is just you. And that is what was happening with me. For a while, I felt overwhelmed. I felt, like I was drowning in a way. And the only way that I've been able to alleviate that is to outsource. And because I've been able to outsource, I've been able to do more work. And because I've been able to do more work, I've been able to grow and make more money, and ultimately it's all been great. I wouldn't be able to do half the work that I do, in all honesty, if I hadn't learned to let go of some of that that control and let other people in, and that just gave me the ability to scale and grow properly. So the next thing is I regret not charging enough. This one's a little bit more common, and it's common because pricing creative services is one of the most difficult things that we have to do. You have to determine a price for your services, and that often reflects with your self-worth. Like, something that you were creating, you have to determine a price for other people to pay, and they have the option to be like, no, you're not worth that, or no, the service is not worth that. And it directly reflects with the imposter syndrome. The imposter tells us that, hey, you're not good enough, you shouldn't be charging that much, you shouldn't be where you are. And that is a tough battle to fight, because the truth is we're actually worth that. We're worth more, and 30% on that more. And we just have to get ourselves there. So I wish I would have charged more in the earlier stages, because there was a lot of times where I'd get calls, or I'd get, a client would reach out to me, and I would just have this gut feeling like, I don't want to be doing this. And if you have that feeling, you're not charging enough, point blank, period. Nowadays, I love to get client calls. I love to see somebody hit my phone up, because I'm comfortable, and I finally feel like I'm charging what I'm worth. And that is a spot. It's really hard to get to, but getting there as soon as you can is it's the best thing ever, because now I'm much happier with the work that I create and the work that I have to do for other people. And I don't feel like I don't want to do their work. Like, I finally feel like, yeah, I'll definitely do what you need me to do whenever you need me to, if you are willing to pay what I'm worth. So just remember, if you get a phone call from a client and you feel like you don't want to be doing this work, you are charging too little. You know, personally, I feel like really naked and vulnerable right now. And that's because I don't have my hoodie on, and my kind of YouTube personality is only completed by hat, glasses, and hoodie. And it's like 95 degrees out here. So I had to forego the hoodie, and I kind of miss it already. Like, it's really just a big part of my personality. But kind of speaking of that, the next thing I, regret as a filmmaker is just not being organized enough. Like, this is such a common one, and it's such a thing that affects my everyday life that for the past 3 weeks, I have been in a creative funk. I haven't felt creative. I felt burnt out. I felt like I couldn't do the work. And that stemmed from a lack of organization in my point. Let me explain. The way I live my life, I am an extremely organized and calculated person. There is a rhythm and a balance to literally everything. And when I break that flow and I become disorganized, I become unhappy, I feel like I can't do stuff. The reason being is because I can't see what's next, and I can't focus on what I need to be doing because I'm so caught up in just what's happening, and it feels so bad, and I feel so uninspired, and you get into that rut. But keeping my physical and digital life organized helps me be the best version of myself that I can be. It helps me do things like this. Like, I knew I was gonna come out here and create. I knew what I was gonna talk about. I knew a little bit of everything, and I get to sit on the side of a freaking beautiful lake and just create content because it's already kind of planned out and mapped out, and it feels really, really good. And I personally love that. And when I lose that structure, and I lose, whether it be digital, whether it be physical, whether my office is a mess, my environment is, completely trashed, I'll lose that motivation to create. But if I can keep it clean, keep it organized, I have all my files backed up, I have my archives structured, everything's labeled, the projects are labeled, I know what projects I have to shoot next, man, it just works for me. So I regret letting myself kind of fall into this rut or previous ruts due to my lack of organization. And that is what I'm currently working on, is always keeping that sense of self and always keeping that sense of structure so I don't fall into these ruts. So that way I can focus on being a much happier person and just creating much more content. So next up is an area that I don't have to feel like alone in, because I know we all do this and we've done this, but it's buying gear that I know I don't need, or gear that I think I want, or gear that I'm just not going to use. And it's that hindrance of like, ooh, I can't create this thing until I have this piece of gear, or I can't do this until I have this. Like, I literally did it last week. I wanted to buy a 14 millimeter 1.8 so I would come out here and film videos like this. Like, I have a 24 millimeter 1.4, and it's, as you can see, it's plenty good, but that 14 millimeter just looked so nice, and I was like, ooh, if I had that, I'd go out and vlog, and I'd go out and do so much other stuff. And it's like, I have everything I need to do those things already, but I build up these excuses in my head to get more and more stuff, and that is that's like my kryptonite, man. And it started when I was younger with drones. Like, I love drones. I love everything about them. But when I was younger, I say younger, this is like 7 years ago, um, I'd get a new drone and a new one would come out, and I want to upgrade to the latest and greatest drone. And that started sprinkling into other areas of my life. Like, I wanted more and more lenses, more and more cameras, more and more computer parts and pieces. And you will never be satisfied with more, because more just literally leads to more. And I wasn't solving problems. I wasn't buying gear because, hey, this drone completely solves a problem in my area of film and expertise. No, I was buying gear because it was like the shiny eye syndrome. I was buying stuff because I wanted it, and not because it would complete my kit, but because I thought it would help me complete my kit. Completely irrational purchases has been the downfall of my filmmaking career, because now I have so much stuff that I do not use, and I look back on it like, well, I guess I'll sell it for less, because that's all I can do right now. But yeah, try to be mindful of the things that you buy. Be aware of what is actually going to help and what you are trying to use as a crutch, because in my case, I didn't want to put in the work to create, and I thought having these things would just make my life so much easier, and then in the end, I don't use most of them at all. And lastly, I regret just not doing this. I regret not taking time for myself and just doing the client work, because, like, I know you have to work to pay the bills, and we all work up to this goal of being able to just go out and create exactly what we want. But personally, I think it's better to just enjoy the journey, and along the way, take moments to create exactly what you want, so you don't get burnt out on all the client work. Because throughout this year and a half of YouTube, I wish I would have just done more to just do this. Just be out here, film the beautiful sights that I want to film, enjoy the moments, and just slow down and get away so I can create. But with that all being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.